What if you could hire a planning consultant, a quantity surveyor, a structural engineer, ecologist, a party water surveyor, debt broker, and a tax advisor, all for the same project, all available 24/7, all briefed to the exact same standard that you'd expect from a $15,000 consulting firm? That's what I've built. 124 prompts, 30 plus disciplines, 11 phases of development from site identification to asset management. And I'm going to walk you through every single one of them in this video. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Toby. Over 15 years, I've delivered over $19 billion of real estate projects worldwide. I've sat on both sides of the table, the operator building the model and the funder reading it. And what you're about to see is the prompt library that I use on every live project. So let's get into it. You see, the mistake that most developers make is treating AI like Google. They give one question and they get one answer, and then they move on. But the developers who are winning right now treat AI like their entire team. 30 specialists, each with their own brief, ready 24/7. And that's what a prompt library actually is. You can see from my screen here that I've got my prompts segregated into the phases of development. Each document is one phase of development, and every prompt inside is one specialist on your virtual team. For example, within this prompt library, I have planning consultants, quantity surveyors, structural engineers, ecologists, debt brokers, financial modelers, and program managers. This is the complete 30 discipline model of the entire development process in 124 prompts. Every single one is written like a brief that you would hand to your consulting team. And the result is I can load the context once and call a specialist on demand. But this all starts with the foundation, and that is the senior advisor prompt. So before all of these 11 phases, the first thing you have to do is set the tone of the expectations of the outputs that you're requesting or expecting. And this comes from the senior advisor. And think of the senior advisor as the control mechanism who all of the information cascades through. And as you can see, what this does is it just creates a clear expectation of the kind of role and responsibility and context that you expect your AIs to feed back to you. If you load this first into every single project in every conversation, and it tells your AI to become your dedicated development advisor for one specific project. And the AI produces two outputs: a prompt intelligence summary that you paste into future conversations, and an initial strategic assessment with priority interventions from the next 70, 30 to 90 days. And from that point, every answer is calibrated to your project, your authority, and your stakeholder. And this matters because your AI then stops giving you generic advice and starts giving advice that you can act on. And the specifics that you provide are the project name, the role that you would expect this to take, the authority that you're working within, the stakeholders who you need to report to, the financials that are the critical elements to your projects, the red flags that it needs to keep aware of, and all of the things that you need to be monitoring the most. Because without this prompt, every answer that your AI is going to give you will be generic, and with it, every answer is super specific to your project. So rather than talking you through each and every individual element of what my prompt library has, because as stated, you can access it all for free at the bottom of this video, I'm just going to show you what one of these or a few of these prompts for a couple of these phases might actually look like. So here, the first one that I always start to is obviously all of my libraries have load your project context first, which we've just discussed. And that just puts it into a position of making it a real expert for your individual project. And then for this one, this is site identification. It starts with identifying target location. So now we know about our project or about our company, or we've given it that pre-context. We then start to give it some information where we discuss, what we're currently looking for, how many sizes, what the rough estimation will be. And then it will start to output specific locations it will search the web for. And again, what we can do is individualize where it looks. So this is a prompt for just specifically going onto land databases, auction catalogs, or off-market opportunities. and it goes into a deep dive again, and it will return us a report that gives us all of the opportunities that it thinks it's identified that we may want to look at further. And then things like analyzing demographic and demand. Now, the point of this isn't about spending hours searching for these sites. This isn't about having to use an individual third party. This is about training AI and your individual skills that you're using to really hone in on the specifics of what makes your business run, of what your KPIs are, and what are the kind of sites that you want to start looking for. So the next phase that we've got in our prompt library is phase 2, and this is really focused on the actual feasibility and business case element. Now, this is where things really start to get interesting, especially if you use elements like Claude Code. Because if you have your own individualized real estate development financial feasibility template and Excel or whatever you use, what you can do is you can train individual AIs like Claude on your specifically chosen template. So then what you do is you provide it this individual prompt based on the site that you're currently looking at, and it will output you a fully completed deck, a complete Excel feasibility with a presentation as well. Now, we've actually got a video already up that goes through the step-by-step process on how exactly to do that. So watch that one after this. And then again, one of the real specifics that I find really useful is finding what your benchmark is. So for the UK, it's the BCIS, the build cost indices. In the US, it's the RS means. And basically what it can do is it can look at your location factor and really target in the individual elements and sources of data that make it really specific to your actual project. So when it outputs these pre-made automated feasibilities, it's actually got live data in there as well. And we've got 12 of these in this individual prompt deck. And like I said, it's all accessible at the bottom. And this last one that I'll show you is really where we see the power of AI coming in at the moment. You may have seen it all over the news. Legal firms are starting to get really worried about the fact that AI is becoming so powerful. And these are the prompts that I find that can make your AI give you better results than a current law firm can. In fact, I use this on my own house sale in the last year, and it found significantly more information in the conveyancing reports than our actual in-house surveyor and lawyers found. So it was quite a slap in the face for everybody when I came back 10 minutes after they had given me a report saying everything was ready to sign, with actually some information that had been missed. And the reason is because AIs can search and go through these documents so much faster. So some of the prompts we have is to review and negotiate the acquisition of contract terms. So what it will do is you'll give it this prompt, you'll give it the document, and then within minutes it will have just a complete headline sheet of all the areas that you might want to focus on. And you can scale back as to how extensive you want it. Now, I personally still skim the contract. I read through every single clause, but just give it a quick once over so I understand where things are. And then after that, I put it through my prompt and say, where are the areas that I should be focusing on? And then I start to craft my responses and my negotiation strategy around that. But it really shows you how what would usually take a week to review the contract, itemize everything else that I think is risky, put it into a tracker, find the mitigation points, and then start to think of a negotiation strategy around those mitigation points. 80% of that work is now condensed. So I just skim the contract myself, put in these prompts, and then I'm returned with a complete tracker of everything I should be focusing on to get the best deal possible. It's also for things like local authority and utility searches. You can have it scan through public information to find out where your nearest connection points are. So all of these elements that are time consuming. People say that AI is only good for research. Well, a lot of development is research. It's going to find data, and it's how cleverly you use it using these automated prompts that really give you some high quality, really powerful information. So as you can see, this can become an absolute game changer. 124 prompts, 30 plus disciplines, 11 phases, one senior advisor sitting at the top of it all. Now you're not asking AI questions anymore. You're directing an AI team that understands and will move you towards your goals because it has your project specificity in mind. Because every prompt is calibrated to your specific project because the senior advisor briefed the AI first, and the work that used to take a senior development manager a week now takes an afternoon, and the work that used to require tens of thousands of pounds or dollars of consultant time now happens before the consultant has even replied to your email. And this is what separates developers who treat AI as a search engine and developers who treat it as their entire team. But of course, 124 prompts is my specific library, and it's a lot. You don't need to use all of them on day one. Start with the senior advisor, brief it on your live project, and then pick the phase you're in right now and choose the prompts that are going to solve your biggest problems. And watch what happens to the quality of your output by the end of the week. And if you want access to resources similar to what I showed today, I'll leave a free link to download them all in the description below. But you need to understand that where you sit on this AI usage spectrum determines what your next move is. And I built something to help you figure that out exactly. So there are 3 additional resources in the description below. One is the Development Appraisal Suite. If you want to see what the advanced end of the spectrum looks like in practice, a feasibility that models and runs all scenarios, automatically formats lender-ready output, and gives you the answer the moment that the inputs are provided, then click the link below. The second is a booking link if you're ready to become an AI power user, or you want to shortcut the process of building this into your workflow. Book a call with us, and we'll map out exactly what automation looks like for your specific process. And third is a free short questionnaire that will give you a detailed result on where on the AI and automation readiness spectrum you are and how to start moving more towards the end of competence. If this was useful, subscribe as we release weekly videos going deep into all things AI in property, real estate development and construction. See you in the next one.